At a science conference, this neuroscientist dude from UC San Diego, V.S. Ramachandran, dropped a mind-blowing story about one of the patients. Picture this. Half of the guy's brain was an atheist, and the other half believed in God. Back in the day, doctors treated severe epilepsy by splitting the brain, literally cutting the corpus callosum, the thick nerve bundle connecting the left and right hemispheres. For over 50 years, this surgery was common for epilepsy patients. And as brutal as it sounds, it actually worked. Seizures dropped big time. Now think about it. Epileptic seizures hit randomly. You could be walking down the street, or Netflix and chill with your Tinder match, boom, you're on the floor. For example, one patient had a seizure while working in a bakery, causing a fire that burned parts of his body. Scary, right? When your brain's misfiring like that, you can't control it. So, for a lot of folks, losing that brain bridge was worth it, if it meant fewer seizures. But still, let's not sugarcoat it though. Cutting that brain connection is not just risky, it's honestly terrifying. Imagine your left brain having absolutely no clue what the right brain is up to, and vice versa. They're literally two strangers trapped in the same skull. Yikes, that's one creepy side effect. And who knows, maybe they'll start working against each other. After the surgery, some patients took forever just to make the simplest decisions. Why? The left brain controls the right side of your body and the right brain controls the left. Simple, right? But with no bridge between them, each side started doing its own thing. Like roommates who absolutely hate each other. Picture this, you're trying to grab a drink, right? Your right hand reaches for a coffee mug, but your left hand grabs a tea bag instead. Your own body becomes a battleground. Two minds, one body, zero teamwork, just pure chaos. And this isn't just some sci-fi fantasy. In fact, several patients actually ended up doing some seriously bizarre stuff. At one of his conferences, Ramachandran pulled off a case that truly stunned people. Using a clever trick, he'd whisper into the right ear to talk to the left brain, and the left ear to talk to the right brain. But why bother with this sneaky method? Here's why. The left brain controls all communication. It's the only part that speaks. Since we've got just one mouth, the left side hogs the mic. But the right brain? It's mute. So how do we get answers from it? Simple. The right brain used the left hand to point to cards labeled yes, no, or I don't know. But the results? Unbelievable. Tests showed the left brain believed in God, while the right brain, total atheist. Same person, two clashing beliefs. How's that even possible? The audience was floored. I mean, this stuff sparks deep, messy philosophical questions. Ramachandran ended his lecture with a bombshell. Which part of the brain represents the real person? Is this guy going to be judged for his left brain's faith or his right brain's doubts? So even though Ramachandran's story is wild, and despite the fact that he works at one of the top brain and neuroscience research institutions, UC San Diego, the university that holds the brain of one of the most important patients in memory research history, Henry Molaison, which, by the way, when surgeons operated on Henry's brain, over 400,000 people watched the stream live. Like I was saying, even with all that cred, Ramachandran's work has never been officially published in a scientific paper, at least not yet, which means it makes it hard for academics to fully confirm or criticize it. But here's what we do know for sure. Michael Gazzaniga, another neuroscience legend. For 50+ years, he studied the human brain. This guy's published over 700 papers on Google Scholar, and his work has been cited more than 64,000 times. That means over 64,000 research papers have used his work to back up their own. OG basically built a career out of analyzing people with split brains. And trust me, his freaky experiments? Let's just say they'd make a horror movie director jealous. Gazzaniga noticed something interesting when he showed split-brain patients' right eyes, the ones connected to their left brains, paintings by Arcimboldo, this artist known for painting faces made out of things like fruits, vegetables, fish, books, random objects that come together to form a portrait. Now, the patient, or more accurately the left brain in that moment, said it saw vegetables. That's because the right brain is the one responsible for recognizing faces. And since the left eye didn't see anything, and with no connection between brain halves, the right brain got left out completely. So the left brain had to make the call, and since it sucks at processing faces, it just saw the individual stuff. For regular people, both sides share info all the time, so when they see a face made of books or vegetables, they get it instantly. But for split-brain patients, it's dead silence. So it completely depends on which eye saw it. Right eye says books, left eye says face. Same head, different answer. It's like the brain's trolling or gaslighting itself. Gazzaniga also made more discoveries. For example, usually an ordinary untrained person can't draw two things at once because both sides of the brain are working on different tasks, and that just creates confusion. But a person with a split brain doesn't have this issue. They can easily draw two things at the same time. An average person could tell you what they see in their left visual field, no problem. But someone with a split brain can't tell you what they see in that same field. However, they can draw it with their left hand. My dear subscriber, I totally get it if you're confused, because it is confusing. It's like there's a second body in there or something. But like we said, the left side of the brain, which controls speech, has no access to what the person saw in their left visual field because the left eye is connected to the right hemisphere. And since there's no way for the two hemispheres to communicate, so when you ask the patient, they'll have no clue. But the moment you tell them to draw it with their left hand, they draw it. Can you imagine how wild that is? It's almost like the whole right side of the brain is locked in there, and the only way it can express itself is through the left hand. So, pretty much, we never really get to hear its side of the story. Can you believe that even though all these were jaw-dropping discoveries, they still weren't the most surprising part? So one day, Gazzaniga spotted something super weird. Whenever he told the right brain to do something, then asked the left brain, "Why did you do that?" The left brain would just make something up. For example, he'd show an apple to the left visual field, which connects to the patient's right brain, and tell it by whispering into the left ear to grab that apple with the left hand. Then he'd ask, "Why did you pick up the apple?" And the person would make up a reason. Because I'm hungry." Keep in mind, the left brain is the one that controls speech and gave that answer. Even though the left brain was totally clueless about the right brain's actions and had no actual role in them, it still made up a story on the spot to excuse what happened. If you think this is no big deal, let me tell you, it's actually huge. What this means is that, even though there was no influence from the left brain on what happened, it still had an impressive ability to cook up BS explanations for things it didn't choose and had no control over. In other words, after the action takes place, the reason follows, not the other way around. I'm not going to go deep into this, but think about it for a second, because this one point alone sparked heated controversy in the scientific community. The fundamental question: was the left brain's lie intentional, or did it just give a default response, or something else? And when we ask questions like this, we're touching on one of the most profound philosophical debates in history: free will. Are we really in control of our own actions, or is something else driving them? In this case, maybe the left brain is being controlled, but then it spins a story to make it seem like it's in control of its decisions after it's already made them. Anyway, it's a full-blown existential crisis here, so I won't drag you down that rabbit hole today. But let's just take a moment to appreciate the brains that study the brain. This has been Nova from Nova Briefcase. Smash that like button, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.